Welcome to Light Goddess YouTube. This is the Cancer New Moon Forecast and Sun Sign Horoscopes. I'm Dev Hotep, pro astrologer and life coach and founder of Light Goddess, a business, community, and movement of soul mission driven women here to shine their light and help humanity ascend out of the patriarchy into back to the light, back to a return to soul and consciousness. Let's look at this Cancer New Moon here. I really appreciate you being here. And if you are here, please throw a like down on this video. It really helps the analytics. And definitely subscribe so you can find out when the new moon and full moon videos come out next. So this is the Cancer new moon happening July 5th, 2024 at 5:57 p.m. Central Time, and it's 7:57 p.m. Eastern Time and 10:57 p.m. Universal Time. It's happening at 14 degrees and 23 minutes of Cancer. And something I think is fascinating is that Hellenistic astrology, it's all about the lens that you look through, but unfortunately it's usually interpreted and done through a patriarchal lens. Most of traditional astrology is, but we can utilize the great things from it and look through a different lens. Right. If you don't know, I'm an evolutionary astrologer because we look at the soul incarnates, takes on an ego and a body to act out its evolutionary goals. And we have many, many lifetimes. And so we look at everything from the perspective of growth, growth mindset, for example. It's something you may have heard. There's a lot of books written on that. And we look at everything from the idea that we're here to grow and evolve throughout this lifetime. We have, evolutionary intentions and goals. And this is just one lifetime of many for our soul. So Thema Mundi is a Hellenistic idea where instead of Aries being on the first house, the cusp of the first house, which is what is typical in astrology, where Aries is a first house, Taurus is a second house, Gemini is a third house. The signs go in order from Aries to Pisces. The 12 signs, 12 houses, they're correlated to their same house of the same number that they are, right? So sixth house is correlated to Virgo and is the sixth sign in the zodiac. And so we typically think the soul, Pisces, 12th house, comes in and takes on an ego personality body and then goes and finds food and shelter and warmth that, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, understands its values in that Taurus second house. And then Gemini correlated to the third house, then it gets, categorization, the mind, connection, talking, understanding, study, learning, categorizing and identification. And that would come in handy when you're trying to identify what food to eat out in the wild. And then we go to Cancer correlated to the fourth house, being self-image, being a new cycle also, at the beginning of a new cycle, and also being our roots to rise to, this is the root to rise to the 10th house, the highest echelons of the earthly experience, because now this is kind of going beyond Earth, the 11th and 12th house, Aquarius, Pisces, respectively. And this is also our career house, 10th house. It is our authorship of our medicine for this world that we're bringing for this world. It is our taking up real estate in this world and integrating ourselves into the larger society as a whole. What are we out there? Are we a doctor, a lawyer, an author, a creative, a change maker, a social change agent, etc.? And so this fourth house is home and family and foundation and our early life, and often associated with mother or with the parents. And so this Thema Mundi idea from Hellenistic astrology was a teaching tool that was used back then, where they put, instead of Aries in the first house, they put Cancer in the first house. And then they put the signs in order going around. So it'd be Cancer and then Leo in the second, and then Virgo on the third, and so on. And the teaching, unfortunately, kind of falls apart pretty quickly. However, it was trying to teach rulership. Each of the planets rule a sign. So the moon rules Cancer. And so with the Cancer new moon, we're kind of having a very pure new moon after the summer solstice. And it's almost like a new beginning in a way. It's like a reset. I'm really calling this about our truth. And I'm going to get into what I mean about that. And so, but what's interesting about Thema Mundi is somebody back then was thinking about just how important Cancer is. And so let's get into just how important Cancer is. Cancer is about your emotional security, and it's about security. But just think about that idea that can you really have inner security without having emotional security? And Cancer is both, and why? And like, let's make the distinction and pull them apart, because we've been taught in our world to get our security based upon our cars, our money, our houses, our job, our status, our titles, our relationships, and possibly how known we are, or our clouts, and all of these things that when we go through the evolutionary journey of life, we typically will find out, we'll get them and find out it's quite meaningless, quite concave and hollow, or we'll find out that that we still have lack mentality, even if we have millions of dollars, or we'll find out that we get them taken away. And whoa, now how are we dealing with security issues then? And can we be individuated? Can we be secure within ourselves? And so it's Cancer's showing us the way to true inner security, that it just doesn't come from anything but actually having emotional know-how. And if we look at emotional know-how, then we realize we were never taught this. All growing up, we were taught the opposite. We were taught emotions to be trivialized, minimized, that they weren't important, that they, in fact, were a problem, and you should stuff them away. They're not professional. They're not allowed in baseball or in the boardroom. And you better not be crying in a meeting. Kelly Cutrone has this really great book, actually, that's like, if you need to cry, go outside. I mean, I kind of like that better than you're not allowed to cry at all. But it's like, well, we still got to work, but you're allowed to cry, but just go over there. I mean, that's a lot better of an environment. I can't remember when that book came out, but it's a really good book. Or at least back then to me it was. But anyways, so with emotions, we're really moving from a mind ego dominant species to an emotions intuition dominant species. Cancer is intuition as well, but also Cancer is very more instinctual. So many of us really conflate our intuition for our fears and for our wounds, and we get scared and we don't do things because we're like, oh, my intuition says I shouldn't do that. I'm not sure. That's our mind. Our mind is the one deliberating, calculating, tabulating. It comes in a nanosecond. I mean, it just boom, swings in. Our heart, our intuition, yes, no, it just knows. It's just there. But if we're not practiced at discerning what our intuition really is, if we're not practiced at listening to it, if we're not practiced at trusting it, if we had it conditioned and programmed out of us since we were a kid, or if we had our intuition like gaslighted and said it's not real and it wasn't happening and it wasn't true when we were a kid, and now we're adults, then we're going on this journey. All of humanity is, to a greater or lesser degree for each individual, to reclaim our ability to navigate our life through our emotions and our intuition, and to understand the importance of emotions. They are the messages and language of our soul. It is the bridge between our soul and our ego personality. They are our navigation system. They are our guidance system. We really want to become emotionally empowered and have emotional know-how. And all of my clients typically come to me to accomplish some big goal and to make money in their business as a soul mission driven woman, or as a corporate creative woman, or as an ex-corporate, and they want to run their own business and they want to accomplish goals. They want to make money doing what they love, and they know they're capable, but there's typically some sort of thing in their way or some sort of tangle, and that's why they're coming to me for coaching. And that's what I typically help my clients with. However, all of my clients walk out of coaching with the most emotional empowerment than they've ever had in their life. They feel deeply secure within themselves. They know what the hell to do with emotions. They are not overwhelmed by them anymore. They do not narrate them as unhelpful, negative, difficult, awful things. They're not scared of them anymore. And it's just so incredible. I have my proprietary method with emotions that I teach all of my clients, and it just makes it so it just brings it down into, now I have the power to deal with my emotions. Because here's the thing, if you're really out there accomplishing big things, putting yourself out in the world, there's a lot of inner stuff to overcome, especially because of this world that we are in a soup of, right? And so we really want to understand Cancer is our emotional seascape. It's all of the human emotions. Just understand that everything you want is because of the way you think it's going to make you feel, and everything that you are averting from and have this aversion to and want to get out of your life or change or not be the case is because of how you feel. So if you really think about all of that, just how important emotions are. Let's look at something here in the chart. So you can see this purple little miniature Pluto here. This is Pluto's north node, and this over here is Pluto's south node. So Pluto is right here, the planet of evolution, right? And your natal chart, it correlates to your soul. You know, what house it in is like so much who you are. It is just who you are. It just is. If you would like to book a natal astrology chart with me and dig into your natal birth chart, you can book that at empoweredwomenrise.com. I have my standard fee and I have a sliding scale fee as well. And so all of the planets have nodes, and Pluto's nodes really show us where we've been as a humanity previously. It's in Capricorn, patriarchy, 5,000 years of patriarchy. Where are we going? Well, we're picking back up what got tossed to the side for the while. What is Cancer? The feminine, intuition, and emotions. So we're becoming an emotions, intuition dominant species versus what we were, a mind and ego dominant species. We see where that's gotten us, discarding the feminine and discarding emotions and intuition. And now humanity, this is humanity's growth edge. This is humanity's evolution. This is what we're doing. So I talked about this and went through something really special, kind of understanding what's happened this year, because we're going through very rare astrology. We don't really see this very often, with all of the planets stacking up in a sign and then stacking up in the next sign and then stacking up in the next sign all together, making a bunch of conjunctions to the outer planets that stay in signs for a very long time, or a much longer time than the interpersonal planets, Mars and Mercury and Venus. And of course, the moon moves every 28 days. It's going through the zodiac, and stacking up in all of these signs, making these important conjunctions, making these important opening squares, really big astrology we've been going through. So if you go to Light Goddess YouTube, you can watch that Gemini new moon video, and I go through all that, and I got a lot of great feedback on it. People said it really helped them understand this year and their life in the context of what's going on in the astrology. And so I'm not going to belabor that here, but I do want to say that now we're getting to this point where the planets are starting to move. They talked to this north node, moved past it, stacked all up in each individual sign, making these important conjunctions, and then starting to make opening squares and so forth, and these different aspects that they were making. And then now they're starting to move past the north node of Pluto. They're making a conjunction to the north node of Pluto, having a conversation, starting a new cycle. So ending an old cycle and starting a new one, and then moving past that. So let's look at, let me change this chart here for us. So this is July 23rd when I'm recording this. We've had 3 planets in Cancer. We were having 4 and 5 planets in a sign. But Mars is going fast, but it's hanging back. And Venus, and Mars has a longer orbit, as a 2-year orbit. So all of the planets are moving really fast, except Saturn and Neptune are stationed at the time I'm recording this on the 23rd of June. And I'm going to go through up to the new moon here. And so Saturn and Neptune are stationed, and the rest of the planets are moving fast. And Venus and Mercury here hanging out with the sun in Cancer. So all this kind of Cancer water energy. Cancer is a cardinal sign, so it likes to move in a direction. Cancer is, known for connected to the mother and mothering, right? And this is a fascinating thing where people in the collective are very confused by a lot of the misinformation and the wonky, just sideways information that is out there, and that a lot of people are perpetuating on purpose to manipulate people. Good Lord, like, people are really trying to gaslight and manipulate people on this masculine feminine thing to get people back entrenched in the patriarchy. It's just another version of patriarchy, this masculine feminine and these evolutionary roles, and the woman is supposed to be this and the man's supposed to be this, and just enough already. Like, we really got to wake up from these spells. I hope that you haven't gotten under that one. But I see it out there a lot where women are really buying into that bullshit, and really and we have to understand why. Because of Cancer, because of the deep wounds of the mother wounds, the deep wounds of nurturance, of not having nurturance growing up, not having love, like maybe growing up with actually unlove. I really grew up with unlove. It was later in my life to heal that. And it was a crazy journey. And there was a lot to that. But there was this moment where it was like this contrast came in of all of this love poured in, like from my soul family and from my guides, and from what was like metaphorically like my soul mother and father, so to speak. It's just kind of this experience. We speak in the energetic psychic realm. We do a lot of metaphors to help us understand what we're experiencing that's invisible and energetic, right? And so it was this night and day contrast to the unlove that I grew up in, that was habituated to, and that was normalized for me, as if that shit was fucking normal. So when you've had an abusive upbringing like that, and you've been exposed to just unlove, and you don't even know it, you don't identify it as that, because that's the funky thing about abuse, or parents that just didn't know what the fuck they were doing, or whatever the case is to why you went through that, where there was some good. You obviously survived, you may have had shelter and food, and you had some things, right? But it really skews people. And so it can take a long time for where you stop letting people treat you poorly, because the way people, when they treat you poorly, it just seems normal. It is normalized for you. It really truly seems normal. It can take well into your healing on this, to recognize the difference between when people really treat you well and the way you should be treated and should expect to be treated, and should only allow people to treat you. Honoring you, respecting you, loving you. It doesn't mean they're perfect. It doesn't mean they don't mess up, but they can take responsibility for their shit. So can you. They can own their own stuff. They take responsibility for their own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, not making you responsible for them or putting them on you. They don't project. They can apologize, all these types of things. And and they you can be really like thinking these other people who aren't such bad people, but they're just not good for you, and they're not treating you well, but it seems normal because it has been normalized for you all growing up and living in this culture too, where we tolerate such abuse. This culture is abusive. This culture is the epitome of abuse. This culture is abusive. Patriarchy is abusive. Yes, we have come so far, and also not even scratched the surface of how far we need to go, and what is just unacceptable of what is normal for a lot of people. So we need people like me that are really trying to make this contrast clear and delineate these lines, and you perhaps as well in your work, to really help people wake up from accepting, the way this culture has been and how abusive it is. And so this Cancer energy can make you sensitive. It can bring up all the emotions at once or all in one day. It can be provoking and bringing just a bunch of old memories and different things that are coming up, arising to be healed. It's really arising for a reason, truly. And it's, you know, can really kind of hit on our nurturance notes. We got nurturance or not. It can hit on our home and family notes, and maybe our desires to be loved, or desires for our parents, or the dream that we had for our parent-child relationship that we need to grieve because we aren't ever going to get it, and we didn't have it. And most people, I mean, so many clients I work with do have to do that with like somebody in their life, where they grieve what they thought they wanted, what they thought the relationship was going to be, and or what they thought it was and it wasn't. And, you know, these types of things. And really go through grief and loss. And so what's going to happen here is that on the 26th, on Wednesday, from when I'm recording this, on June 26th, we'll have Mercury trining Saturn. Exactly. And so we will be feeling that trine from the time I'm recording this up to Wednesday, you know, applying trine. Like we feel the energies more intensely, typically leading up to the exact moment, and then start to feel them much less as they start to separate from that connection. So aspects are just connections between planets, really simple. And so that trine is a harmonious aspect, typically thought of as harmonious and positive. And so Mercury, the mind, and Saturn, our reality, our work in the world, our career, what we want to do. And so there's this great energy of knowing what you want to do, getting things done, and really keep on those habits. I've really been talking about all of the last moon videos that I put out about this is the time, y'all, to really be implementing habits, strong, powerful habits that you know, that are going to be what gets you the results that you're looking for in your life. It's the $1 million habits. It is the high value habits where you're doing high value quality efforts that produce results over time, and understanding that habits are consistent efforts over time. We're in such a destination focus in this society. We have Chiron in the sign of Aries, the wound of impulsiveness, wanting everything right now, and this impulsiveness and like starting and instigating but never finishing and completing, making decisions but not actually following through on them, which basically makes a decision moot and is not really a decision. Like following through is what makes something truly a decision, right? And so how do we do that? And habits can take 66 days to form. Habits can be challenging. They can challenge us. And so what comes up within us, all of this resistance, all of our insecurities and fears and self-doubt and lack and inadequacies and inferiorities and all that we just don't want to, and all of these things, you know. So habits can be really challenging to put into place, but doing that consistent habit every single day is how the project's going to get completed, how any goal you're working towards is going to get completed, accomplished, achieved. And it's how you're going to progress on anything that you just want to be part of your lifestyle and the way you live, exercise, or a part of your the way you eat, or a part of your taking care of your mind and your emotions. It's just this consistent effort every single day, making it your lifestyle. That's how it becomes truly your lifestyle and becomes more autopiloted, where you don't have to think about it all the time. We want to really be aware of decision fatigue and stop making decisions every single day. Make the decision once, and then each day work on keeping the decision you made and following through. You know, it's much easier to keep working on following through and building the habit or building the positive pattern than trying to make the decision. Again, we get decision fatigue. Okay, so the Saturn trine Mercury is this really positive way to look at achievement, to look at our goals, to look at the habits we've been implementing and trying to put into place since the 14th of February. And I hope all of this beautiful, like the Mars Pluto Square, and they talked about in the Gemini new moon forecast, and all of this, the Capricorn full moon, and all of this beautiful energy that we have had that's just been amazing, has helped you to really put those habits into place, really be clear on your goals and what you're working towards. So we have that happening, and then very quickly after that, we have what happened? Oh, that's Venus, Mercury. All right. And then very quickly after that, we have Mercury conjuncting Pluto's north node. So amazing. It's communicating, connecting to Pluto's north node, that our evolutionary growth as a species, as a whole. And for you also in your chart, everyone's got Pluto's north nodes in your own natal birth chart. So, there's communications and rumblings deep within us. And this is so powerful for the collective. And this is a lot of deep internal rumblings. It's not necessarily these big outer things we're going to necessarily see in the world, but it is deep things happening in our collective psyche soul, for sure. And then now, the planets are starting to move beyond Pluto's north node to the other side of Pluto's nodal axis here. So how the planets have moved through this. All right. And on the 27th, the moon conjuncts Saturn exact, talks to Saturn, gets some information. Obviously, the moon goes through all of the planets very quickly each month, every 28 days. But, it's talking to Saturn with some of these other aspects happening, and then going to come join the sun. So it's going to, obviously make a conjunction to Saturn and Neptune in the North Node and Chiron and Athena and Mars and Uranus and Jupiter, and then come join the sun. And of course, on the one hand, yes, it does this every month, but just feel around what's going on for you inside. And on the 29th, we have Saturn, really important, going retrograde. Saturn's been stationed for a while, so it's not moving. When the outer planets slow down, they're very impactful. They have a larger influence over the energies affecting all of us, kind of the outer circumstances of our life. Like the planets really affect it's like it's describing, it's the metaphor, the symbols describing like our outer circumstances and so forth, right? And so it's going to retrograde until November 15th this year. With Saturn retrograde, you might have Saturn retrograde in your planet, retrograde in your natal birth chart, rather. So this might be an amazing time for you when Saturn's retrograde from June to November of this year. This, for some people, this might be a time where you're really reviewing all of your goals and objectives, and there's challenges and feeling like some restrictions are coming up. There's restrictions in some areas, and some areas flow and are better than they've ever been. Some people will say, some astrologers will say, like, you're not going to really start anything new in this time. That's just not true. You just can't say that across the board. Astrology is correlation and observation. It's just not true. But for some people, it could be very hard to get things started. You really want to have taken this energy from the 14th of February and to have implemented, really understood your vision and really been implementing great habits all this time and practicing those habits every day, having made the decisions already, and now just practicing the follow through and the good habits and so forth. So this is very important. This could feel like, things in the world are maybe not moving forward and progressing, but it's more where we're turning inward instead of looking to the world, and so forth so much, in this area of like for our reality. We're really turning inward to our inner reality, and for like what's inside our consciousness to really be determining more of reality. Saturn. And also check out what happened between, June 17th and November 4th last year, because that was when Saturn was retrograde last year. So think about that time versus the rest of the year, and what happened for you and what happened in your reality, what happened with your money and your career and your objectives and goals. That's all Saturn territory. Okay. After the 29th, on July 2nd, we have, Venus making that exact trine to Saturn. Venus has been in this applying trine. So again, you've been feeling that all the way up to July 2nd when it's exact finally. And again, that trine energy is this harmonious energy to Saturn, like getting it done and making things happen, your goals and objectives, and the steady, work at it every day to accomplish something long-term, for the long-term vision. Like, I really encourage you to get out of this destination focus and just really focus on those, on the follow through and on the habits. And so we have Venus here. And Venus is all about our, all about like the loving, harmonious energy. It's all about relationships to self and other. And so there's just this positive energy to connect to, to connect to others, to understand like the goals and objectives. But remember, Saturn's going to be retrograde, so we're kind of really coming from within our own realities in a way to relationships, and can maybe understand each other better, and really be wanting to get goals accomplished, really be in this like focused, achieve, accomplish place, wanting to get work done. Also, Mercury enters Leo on July 2nd in the morning before the trine happens. And so Mercury's now in the sign of, the everything being big and playful of our inner child. Mercury's in the sign of the inner child. And so really connecting to your inner child. I used to think my inner child was gross. I used to think that whole concept was gross. I mean, I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I don't want to be near it. It used to really gross me out. And obviously there was some healing there that needed to be done. I went in and I did all that healing, and now I'm very protective of my inner child. I'm very much engaged my inner child and let her have fun and play and come out and do what she needs to do. And she really helps me to have a lot of fun and play in my life, and to nourish my soul, and to not forget all the parts within us, the teenager within us, and the different child of different ages within us. And when my inner child comes up, when I'm in a situation with a nasty asshole or something, I notice her there, and I get her out of that situation and walk away to protect her from not having, because she comes up like feeling powerless and feeling like she's not being protected. I go and protect her. So my child that may not have been protected in childhood is now protected by me. And so it's like noticing that. And is there inner child healing, or does that concept gross you out, or is there some static there? But, our mind wants to play, be enthusiastic, wants to be on stage, wants to hog the stage, maybe wants to be the center of attention, be in the limelight, or wants to be really creative and interested, like very mentally focused. Leo is a very mentally focused sign. It's a fire sign. And, it's about creative self-actualization. And so it's like, Mercury has this trine to Saturn, conjuncts with Pluto's North Node, moves into Leo, and it's like time to creatively self-actualize. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's believe in ourselves. Leo is very self-possessed. It's just confident. It just believes in itself. It just is. It's not a question. It's a fixed fire sign. And it's about standing on stage. And so what's that metaphor for where you need to stand on stage in your life, where you need to have that confidence, where you need to get out there, maybe literally in your business, as a soul mission driven woman, you're meant to go speak on stage, or maybe, it's metaphorical for you, but you get what I'm saying. And then we have Venus that will then make this conjunction to Pluto's North Node on the 3rd, on July 3rd. And so this is going down. And so she'll talk to the North Node and get her papers, get her information. Mercury got his papers, and then Venus is going to get her papers and get the information. It's a new cycle beginning, right? And so obviously these planets move very fast, but it's just indicative of this very interesting thing that we've gone through with all of the planets stacking up in this really rare astrology that we've had. Also with, a lot of big astrology we've had with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So we want to look in the context of all of the things going on. That Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is rolling out over the decades to come, the effects of it. And the Pluto Mars, conjunction and then square every 2 years, this 2-year period, beginning. And then the Jupiter Pluto trine, it's a very rare thing for Jupiter to trine Pluto when it's in Aquarius. And we have both these air signs and evolution and learning and growth and our belief systems in air signs. And Jupiter being in Gemini is really fascinating because it's really Jupiter and Gemini here, it's really blowing this up, it's really blowing up this air energy. It's this background vibe we have of this Gemini energy, fun, wanting to connect, wanting to like talk and, have fun. It's open, friendly energy, wants to connect and have fun and, make new friends and talk to people. And it's this energy of downloads and information, and it's buzzy and friendly. And it's also can be distraction city. It can just be not getting things done and wanting to like flit like a butterfly to all these different activities and ideas and things and not really focusing to fruition. So that can be challenging for some people with your makeup. So and that's July 4th. And then July 4th, let's see, Venus will move past Pluto's North Node. And then what are we doing? What is happening? Let's do this. Okay. There we go. And then we will have bum, bum, bum. Then we will have the new moon. So Cancer new moon, kind of talking about this Thema Mundi in a way. I was kind of playing around with the vibes out in the collective that I'm feeling for this new moon. And it's not really that it's a reset. That's not what it is. It's not a reset, but it's not a launch. Saturn's now retrograde. Neptune also went retrograde as well on the 20. Did it go on the 29th as well? I think on the 2nd of July, Neptune went retrograde. So I just didn't cover that really in depth. Neptune is our collective consciousness. The Neptune generations, like if you have Neptune and Capricorn, that generation is kind of like spiritually compelled towards achievement and accomplishment. The Neptune Sag generation is really, spiritually compelled towards higher truth and seeking wisdom and seeking what's beyond the beyond, really understanding the greater why and cosmos and where we come from and all of that. And so on with Neptune throughout all the signs and the different generations, right? And so it's retrograde. So with this new moon, it's not so much of like a reset. It's more of like really a truth, coming into balance with our intuition, understanding our intuition. A lot of people conflate your intuition for your wounds or your fears. You really want to start learning if, maybe you already are well on that journey, but so many people need to really start discerning your fears. Cancer is very security insecurity conscious. It's very much like wanting to be at home behind the wall, cozy, in front of the TV with the things that make you comfortable, or be around the table with the family and having dinner, or whatever it is that makes you comfortable. That Cancer energy really craves that and wants that, and it really conflates that with security. And so we want to understand with our intuition what to do with it, and to really learn that whole world. It's a whole world to learn your intuition. First of all, you just have to start listening to it and validating it and trusting it. And then you have to be able to do it more in the moment, instead of retroactively. And it's important to go through your intuition retroactively to learn what you didn't get at the time, so that you can do it faster and faster in the future, to where you can be more in present time, following your intuition as you're getting the messages. And I was trying to think of something that happened today. I was like, oh man, I got that message, but I didn't pay attention to it. And we can just so easily dismiss our intuition because it's just the way our culture is. We're not systemically and institutionally supported in this realm, in this world, right? This is us being pioneers in this world. This is us being the leaders and going forward in this world. And oh, why didn't I write this down? I also wanted to really cover the squares too. So there's going to be these squares to Chiron as well. Let me just check this real quick and see what days these are. My cold is affecting me in weird ways. It's I don't think it's really affecting me. And then, yep, it is. So June 28th is Friday. So the Friday before we're moving into July, Mercury is going to square Chiron. So if I just erase all of this here, Chiron here at 23 degrees of Aries, and then Mercury here in Cancer, 23 degrees, and they're going to square exact on that 28th. So they're building into that square. Chiron is our wound and our hole maker, right? It makes us whole to heal that wound that we have. And so that Aries is, so many things. It's the wound of identity, that the identity was given over to other people, people pleasing, and not being allowed to really have to develop and cultivate your own identity, especially as women, right? Or blending in, or following the corporate line, or whatever it is that you were taught to toe the line of the patriarchy, or the status quo, or the mainstream, or whatever it is. And so you didn't develop your own unique identity. And so then here you are as an adult, or a finally awakened woman, fuck, this is an interesting journey of discovery and developing, and it's maybe feels harder to reinvent yourself, or to wear unique clothing, or to just do different things as an adult. And really, what is my expression? What is my identity? Who am I? That's maybe wild and free, and so different than, and can change and grow. Also, Aries is this ability to own your no, to be assertive, to initiate and act, and take action, and also just to self-discover and become, right? And it's just that fire, happy energy. And so Mercury in that Cancer, deeply emotional and sensitive. And so our wounds, and the sensitive energies of Cancer and all of that could just be swirling up this week, prior to the week of the new moon, the Cancer new moon. So this week of, Monday, June 24th, this whole week could have, our wounds and swirling emotions and all these different things coming up. Really understand that there's always a breakdown to break through. There just is. Just remember that when you're having the breakdown and you're in the I don't know what the fuck's going on, or everything's wrong, or everything's off, that you're going to have a breakthrough. So that they're two parts of the same cycle. If you can look at it that way, it can help you to not be so lost within feeling lost, so confused within feeling confused, so distraught within feeling distraught, if that makes sense. Okay. And July 6th, right after this new moon, is when Venus will square Chiron exactly. And so leading up to that, about the week or so leading up to that, is you might be feeling all those same things in your relationship and all of that. So there might be a lot of like mind drama and kind of like relationship, not knowing what's all going on or not thinking that it's good, or conflicted. Squares are like inner conflict, not maybe, I would caution you to, not think anything like, not, I wouldn't land here. So these 2 weeks before this new moon, I wouldn't land here and assume that this is the final resting place of what you're going to think about things in your relationships. I would give yourself a chance to go through all of this, maybe think through it and consider things and journal and, work through emotions. My clients have those specific tools to work through emotions. But don't necessarily go to the partner or go to the friend or think that the things you're thinking are for sure. This is a square. This is conflict. This is issues. Maybe there is something to act upon, but have some, temperance to it, because this isn't probably all true. It probably isn't all the final resting spot for things, but there can be tensions or conflicts in relationships with this energy. And so this new moon is really like it's really like an affirmation. So I would say, instead of like a reset, it's more of an affirmation, a validation of like, yes, we're on track. We're in the habits. We've been doing this hard work. We've been working on our mind around how we narrate things, and like really changing our narratives about different pieces of our puzzle, seeing the truth, seeing the good. Like that's what I was telling you earlier, that I talked about this, is like really seeing the true truth of things, that like looking at all of the good that you do, all of the work and efforts that you put in, all of the ways you change and grow, and really honoring and valuing that, and seeing things more clearly, narrating things on purpose in a deliberate way for your empowerment, for your moving forward, for your believing in yourself, for you thinking great things about yourself. Some of you, you just need to put your foot down and stop it. Like, stop thinking shitty things about yourself. Now, your mind may still offer you those thoughts, but that's where we need to learn true thought work to stop doing that. All my clients take those skills with them. If you've really been wanting to change your life, accomplish your goals, and finally get out of some of the blocks and ruts and obstacles that you're in, you can book a free discovery call for my 6-month coaching program on empoweredwomenrise.com on the homepage. So this new moon is really this kind of validation and affirmation for all of us to honor where you've been doing great, to be real about maybe where you need to keep working at it, but understand habits take 6 days for a lot of people. Habits take time. They're new things you're implementing. They're not autopiloted yet. It's challenging. It's hard. Give yourself a break with all of that, and understand we also have these squares to Lilith and the South Node. So these weeks, there's our wounds, our deep emotional places being poked and prodded. There's Saturn and Neptune going inward for the inward journey for a while. There's the South Node and Lilith, hanging out. Lilith is about our empowerment, and often we need to go through anger and rage to reclaim our empowerment. Often there is deep feelings of powerlessness. If you don't know how to deal with powerlessness, that's what you can work with me on in coaching. How do we actually deal with it so we're not carrying it around, or it's not running in the background, because our emotions do drive your behavior. So they either get you results in your life that you desire, or they don't. They keep you from accomplishing the goals and creating the results in your life that you want. And Lilith is all about And in Libra, the lesson is no, I actually get to choose who I want to be in relationship with. That's why I'm trying all these people and seeing who do I like, who do I not, who do I vibe with, who I don't. Remember, Aquarius is a two wavy lines. It's all about who am I a vibe match with, not who do I have to be around because they're my family, not who do I have to be around because I grew up with them, not who do I have to be around because they just fell into your life and you just never kind of, you know, got them out when you changed and grew in different directions. Understand that, the world is going towards like being together, on a vibrational level. Are we a vibe match? Do we resonate with each other? And that is not actually your birth gestational family for so many people, because that family is what provokes your evolution and growth and why you have different challenges that you go through in your life to learn what you need to learn to bring your medicine to the people, right? Your childhood is often your PhD for the work you do later in the world, right? And understanding, of course, um, um, I'm trying to think of what else is important to say about this. Let's see, what else is important about this? All right, y'all, I'm going to get into the 12 sign, sun sign horoscopes. And let's take this out for a second so I can see this. And, it's kind of interesting that we have this T-square to the nodes, but it's really a separating T-square. I just, we've led up to the energy, but the sun has long surpassed it, like 4 days off of it, and the moon newly passed it. So I don't consider it to be one of the most important things here going down. Be aware that this Mercury, when it moves into Leo, will be in opposition to Pluto. So Mercury, our mind, Pluto, and that ingress happens on the 2nd of July before this new moon. And so that opposition is trying to merge these energies. The Aquarius, Leo opposition axes is all about individuality, you becoming an individual, you becoming individuated, you bringing your gifts to the world, but like taking your unique gifts and matching them up for a social need, doing something in the world that's for the greater whole of humanity evolving, and not just these things for status, money, and clout, and all that kind of stuff. That's just really hollow and can only take you so far. So something else about this new moon is that oh man, I'm sick. My like brain just isn't wanting to work. That might just be it then. For us today. Dun dun dun. So I feel like there is something. Okay, got it. So two big things. With the new moon, understand there's a balsamic phase before. So I already told you that the week before is, a little crunchy with the squares to Chiron, Mercury and Venus squaring Chiron, trines to Saturn, but still Saturn, still about our responsibilities and our goals and accomplishments and what we want to, do, and like implementing habits is, is hard, and letting that be hard and letting that be okay and rolling with it, rallying yourself, whatever that takes. Sometimes also understand that with Saturn, like getting out of the old structures of the way you do things, for me, it doesn't work for me to be like, and this time every day is when I do XYZ. That doesn't work for me. But for me, it's like I do it every day, but how I get myself to do it each day, that varies, and I let myself have that. And eventually it becomes something where it is more streamlined. It is more of just a part of my life. But in the beginning, it takes time for me, and I don't beat myself up, and I don't make it wrong, and I don't do it the way that society and the world says, oh, this is the way to do it. Fuck that. Fuck that noise. That is not true. And this is a part of being awakened and individuated people, of really creating our reality, Saturn, the way we want to create it, and the way that allows for self-care, nourishes us, nourishes our soul, feeds our soul, and then lets us bring the gifts and wisdom of our soul forward for the world and for the people we're meant to serve here. Bring your beautiful light, stand in your power. This is, can be some crunchy times with a lot of emotions and a lot of like wounds and things being poked inside and things coming up. So do your tools. All of my clients learn powerful techniques and tools. For one, you can plug and play with my methods, but also you don't need anything else with my methods. Took me 36 years to develop my methods, but I was on that mission of like, I never get results with trying a million things. A lot of the people that end up coming to me, they've tried everything. They've read the books, they've done the workshops, they've worked with other coaches, and they just want something that works. They just want to accomplish their goals, finally make the money they know they're capable of, and overcome intangible weird obstacles and blocks. And that's what I help my clients do. If you'd like to work with me in coaching, you can book a free discovery call at empoweredwomenrise.com. This is a new moon, so vision, implement, set your goals into place. Again, revalidate the decisions you already made, and that you're keeping to it, that you're keeping to your habits. Nothing went wrong if you got off track or you didn't do it every day, or whatever it is for you. Nothing went wrong. It's normal for it to be hard. It takes a while for that to become a new autopiloted thing. Okay. So this moon is like a new visioning moon, yes, but it's less a visioning moon and more of a like a validation, affirmation that you're on the right track. Keep to it, keep going. You got this. Really believe in yourself, bump up and step into that higher dimension of what you're capable of. Okay. I'm going to go into that kind of those few days before a balsamic moon can be that few days before a new moon is the balsamic moon, and it can be like the underworld time, and it can be purging for some people, especially depending on where you're at in the awakening journey. When the first couple years in my awakening journey, like it was really tough at those balsamic points, particularly. So there's a lot of purging, usually every single moon, along with other times too. So just know that all can happen. And just really just more self-love, y'all. Really, this is Cancer. Nurture yourself, believe in yourself, love in yourself. That you're doing what you can do. You gotta see how to give yourself a break sometimes, a lot more than you probably do. Okay. And being hard on yourself is not the way you're gonna make shit happen. It's just not. All right. So with part 2, the Sun Sign Horoscopes, check out your rising. That's your natal birth chart, and gives you amazing information on where this moon is taking, like what area of your life this moon is affecting the most. And your sun will be a solar chart, and it also again gives you such great information about what is going down for you personally in your life. Please throw down a like on this video. I really appreciate you. If you subscribe and follow me on Light Goddess YouTube, then you'll be notified when new videos come out. And I'm going to be having some new really awesome videos coming out. And you'll be notified when the bi-monthly new moon and full moon with sun sign horoscope videos come out. All right, y'all, sending you lots of love. And if you'd like to work with me in an astrology reading, I have my standard fee and I have sliding scale fees. And you can go to empoweredwomenrise.com to book an astrology reading with me. All right, let's do this. Let's go into your sun sign horoscopes. All right, I'm gonna get into Sun Sign Horoscopes, y'all. And here we go. Aries, let's go. Well, damn it. Let me make sure this is actually sharing the correct fucking screen. Oh. What is happening? Stop it. Okay. There we go. Aries. Obviously, purebred, right? So fourth house for you. This is the house of hidden things, what's underneath the land and how the land holds the riches, right? Or at least always in the past, it was that way. But this is deep within your own subconscious. And this is like how we've been affected in our childhood. And this is our nurturing, and how that has affected us. Have we done healing? Is stuff coming up? New moon, a lot could be percolating. On the one hand, it's a new monthly cycle, but it's a new cycle of a bigger cycle as well. And it's, again, like I talked about in the part 1, which I really encourage you to watch if you haven't, is that this is a validation, this is an affirmation, of what you've already been working on. And so if you've been working on this healing journey, it's an affirmation to keep progressing, keep believing in yourself, keep moving forward. This is very much, I have this cold and everything's all fun, super fun. So this is the house of your emotional seascape. We talked about that a lot in part 1. You want to honor what's coming up for you. This is the route to rise. This is your home and family. This is how secure you feel. And maybe you've been moving, maybe you've been building a house, maybe all these different things have happened. And this is an opportunity to to really implement the depths of security in the outer world that you perhaps have been working on internally. This is maybe the indicator light saying, hey, it's time to stop basing security on all of those outer things. It's time to start down this healing journey on this particular thing that's popping up. Because obviously the healing journey it's really a lifestyle. Healing just means resolution, completeness. It's really a lifestyle because we have so many past lives that are apropos of this time when humanity is awakening to ascend into higher dimensions and frequencies, to come out of the depravity and the darkness that we've been living in, and to go to a whole new place. We're not going back to any old place we've been. We're going to a whole new place. And just think that if everybody was sitting around self-actualizing instead of worried about survival all the time. So this is survival and security and what you base that upon. And this is an opportunity for a new setting forth. But this will really be building upon, things you've already done, if that makes sense. Let's pull you some cards, Aries. What wants to come forward for Aries? Make a mission statement for your soul. So this is wanting you to really, this is really wanting you to let go of some big overarching purpose, let go of like some big grand destination, and get into each day, get into what's right for you right now today, what you can do today, the steps that you can take upon that. Again, it's kind of really reiterating the daily, and with Aries, depending on where you have your Aries at in your chart, you may have that challenge of just being kind of today focused and immediate gratification focused, not able to really create the larger long-term picture and work towards a steady goal in the long term. So it's something to, understand about your own natal birth chart and how you function so that you can mitigate the difficulties that may not be working for accomplishing long-term goals. But this is like kind of letting go of a purpose. If you are purpose focused, that's going to occur to you. That's just going to be obvious at some point. But what you're driven towards, like the things that you deeply desire to affect change upon in this world, the things you're called to do, you really understand, like, what is my mission statement for today? What is my soul's mission statement for today and then tomorrow? And just to keep focusing on that. What else wants to come through for Aries? The sacred flow of yes. This is really listening to your intuition and where you are lit up, where you are a hell yes on things. Remember, though, so many people have just the same old habitual thinking patterns that they're never dismantling. And so they mistake that for their intuition, but those are actually just default thoughts and default thought patterns. And so you want to make sure you're not like saying no to things that can change your life, things that can help you, and and confuse your wound or your fear or your old default thinking for your intuition. Really understanding where you feel tired and where you feel on and alive, and understanding that often when we feel tired is just where we need healing or energetic medicine. What else wants to come through for you, Aries? Limitations inspire innovation. So really understanding that any restrictions that you feel like you're having, there's some wisdom to be gained in this. There's something that you're supposed to alchemize. There's some resourcefulness within yourself that you're meant to obtain right now, that you are meant to cultivate within you, because limitations are actually help us to find options we never would have found in any other way. A lot of times people don't heal things because they have money, so they can just use money to solve the problem instead of actually doing the inner work that would be required to solve that problem if they didn't have the money. So this is, really important to understand that we want to not like solve problems in ways that are not giving us the option to do the inner work. We want to grow and evolve and do what we can in this lifetime. Our soul typically keeps choosing, like we're not on some karmic wheel. That's all bullshit, by the way. If you have been thinking that, I was really under that impression for a long time, but it's just not true. Just countless conversations with my guides, countless research across all kinds of disciplines of religions and mysticisms and self-development. It's not a truth. Our soul just often keeps choosing to come back in because it's got something it's working to do and it wants to evolve on. And so our soul chooses to come back into this life. And as a soul, it makes sense. It sounds like a great idea, but we get here on the earthly plane and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And we, forget our soul higher self until we wake up again. And so it's really understanding like how you can really claim the resourcefulness within you, Aries. All right, I'm sending you so much love. If you'd like to book an astrology reading, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. And please throw down a like on this video. Thanks. All right, so many Kleenexes. Holy shit. Taurus. This new moon is in your third house. This is the house of the mind, the house of mindset, how you think, intellectual property, the house of siblings, and locomotion. Literally, locomoting, being ambulatory in different ways, skating, dancing, singing, driving, walking, running, but also short travel. It could be across states. It's typically not country to country unless maybe you're in the Europe area, but it's more like short travel. So it's kind of whatever your version of short travel versus long distance travel is, but it's more local travel or more like traveling around your same country, etc. So this is going down, new moon Cancer, about nurturing your mindset, nurturing your mind. We have to move all those default thought patterns into a new place. We have to work with our mind and all of the dumbass thoughts that it gives us and that just simply aren't true, that don't help us and are ineffective in our lives. And we need to have nurturance. We need to have love for ourselves. We need to be gentle and kind with ourselves in this area. Also, this is really saying, like I said, this moon is about an affirmation or a continuance, like a a validation of intellectual property, what you're doing, keep on it. You're doing great. Keep going, keep building the habits in place. Keep believing in yourself at higher and higher levels. Keep being empowered and do the emotional inner work. Follow your intuition, not confusing that for default thoughts or fears or wounds. And keep going here. With Saturn going retrograde in your 11th, it's the house of goals and objectives and benefactors and so forth. And so, again, in the part 1, I talked about that more. There's nothing you can say for sure. It's correlation observation for each person, depending on what your Saturn looks like in your own natal chart. But it is definitely where our reality thinking and all of that is going internal, and so is our collective consciousness is going internal. There's a reviewing, there's evaluation and things like that going down. All of these squares and things were happening from your 12th house the week before to this 3rd house. And so to your mind, past lives, I already said for everyone that this is a week where a lot can be churning up. Very much so. Chiron hanging out in your 12th house. Chiron's been here for a long time. It's nothing new to you, but it is with these squares provoking to take action upon past life healing, past life wounds, on deeper energetic, psychic work development, on really bringing forward your understanding of the gestalt and the bigger picture, and connecting to something greater, connecting your now moment to the future, and really coming out of that just day-to-day thinking with these squares to the 6th house, day-to-day life and routines and habits and pattern and all of that. Remember that the South Node is in your 6th house of routines and schedules and all of those day-to-day mundane life activities. And so this has been this challenging thing since last July. We've got 6 more months of this South Node here, and it's going to move into Virgo. But this is this is this area that's kind of being cleaned out of your life. And so the challenges here are getting this opportunity to be resolved and repatterned in a new positive way, to be cleaned out. Mercury is going to be going into your 4th house of home and family and foundations and your roots and your emotions and deep subconscious inner world, with Pluto in your 10th house and that opposition on the 2nd. And so Pluto and the evolution of your career, coming out into the world, taking up real estate, structures and business and long-term endeavors. And that Mercury thinking a lot about roots and your home life, and maybe literally or metaphorically. Let's pull you some cards, Taurus. Fill your cup up with sacred giggles. There is a new journey happening. There's a time to celebrate and to really be in this amazing energy. Something has come to a completion or is coming to a completion, coming to a close. This is a time to really celebrate, enjoy, tap into the inner child, into that Leo energy, and bring forward your playfulness and your enthusiasm and your wanting to be out in the world and bringing your gifts to the world. This is self-actualizing. Okay, you got creator water, really listening in to your intuition and really calibrating to your intuition. Where's the next step that you need to go in learning your intuition skills? Because we must navigate our world by intuition more and more moving forward than ever. And we must become really skilled at it. And it's a world that we were never taught, that we don't know. We have to become skilled at it. So where's the next the next learning? Is it trusting your intuition? Is it hearing it? Is it catching it in the moment that it happens? Is it being able to consistently do that? So also, Creator Water is really talking about emotions. What is your relationship to emotions? So how do you narrate emotions in and of themselves? Are they friends? Are you listening to the navigation system of your emotions? Are you emotionally empowered? Do you have emotional know-how? This is all of life. All of life is that root, fourth house, Cancer, emotions. Light and the unexpected. There's something changing, maybe something that feels tough or difficult or challenging, but it's understanding that there is really important, meaningful, positive things underneath that this is about, and that you're going to mine from this situation, and you're going to move through these challenges, and they're going to give you important wisdom and learnings and understandings, and that there is magic and light in the difficulty. So make sure you alchemize things. Don't assume you know exactly what it is. Oftentimes, we think that it's the world coming to an end, and it's really not as big of a problem as we think it is, or the problem itself shows us how capable we are, and how much we actually can handle, and how much more we've matured and have grown. That trine to Saturn is also this maturity, and really maturing in our relationships, really maturing in our mind. And I wish I would have mentioned that in part 1, but yeah, Taurus has got it. All right, y'all. If you want to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. And definitely make sure you get my 3 astrology secrets to code break your biggest goal by downloading my astrology mini course at the link below this video. And please throw down a like, Tauruses. I will talk to you next time. Gemini, Cancer, new moon happening in your second house. All of the Mercury and the Venus trines that are taking place to Saturn from your second to Saturn in your 11th house of goals, objectives, and benefactors, and bringing your gifts to the world of friendships and groups and organizations and so forth. Those trines um, are helping us to, man, I just don't understand, like, my brain, my memory. I mean, maybe it's just not meant to be part of your message here, but it came out in Taurus. I'm like, why didn't I say that to everybody? But really understanding that there's a maturation here. There's a maturation in the way we're thinking about things in a way that's effective and helpful and useful. And there's a maturation in the way that we're dealing with our relationships. And so there's gifts here, possibly. So realize that. Also this week, I talked about it in part 1. Um, the area of life for you that's really affected is like how you're valuing yourself, your own resourcefulness, your own talents and abilities. You might be questioning all of that. Your money, you might be questioning your money, or feeling lack or scared, or having the lack story come up, or really doing the efforts and the work to create clients or create revenue or to finish projects in this way. And so be aware of that. There's these squares to the South Node in your 5th house of creative self-actualization, of taking your will to create your destiny, of children and romance and fun and playfulness. And so the South Node's been going through this area of your life, trying to help you to clear out what is all in the way, standing in the way of your happiness and your playfulness, and maybe your relationship to your children that's being dealt with ever since the South Node has been here last summer. And second house, this is again a validation moon, an affirmation moon of being on the right track, keeping to your goals and your good habits, of really honoring what you've done well, what you are doing well. Stop beating yourself up, and really look truthfully at what you're doing well and right, and how challenging it is to put in new habits and goals, and that you're doing the effort, and to make sure that you're doing it within who you are versus, the way society says that accomplishment is done. There was this great study done where, I'm not going to say it as well as I saw it, but these people wanted to find like the most creative geniuses, and so they took these children and they all tested as geniuses, and then like they came years later after some schooling had taken place, and it was only a lesser percent of the kids tested as these creative geniuses, and then again more schooling, and then now a very small percent tested as creative geniuses. It was like literally the indoctrination. Of course, we know that our school in the US is an education industrial complex, but of indoctrination bullshit. But you know, it's just like your creative genius is not the way the status quo or the mainstream said you accomplish and get goals, or that you have creativity. So really value and honor your uniqueness within you. And we'll pull you some cards, Gemini. If you'd like to book an astrology reading, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. If you haven't downloaded my free astrology mini course and get my 3 astrology secrets for code breaking your biggest goal, you can go to the link below this video. I'm actually going to be redoing these videos soon and putting those out. And so this video, I get a lot of great feedback for it. But there'll be new ones out soon that I think will be a lot better for most people. All right, so the 3 cards you got, Gemini, are the now. So it's really getting out of your head. You've, had all this big grouping in Gemini. We had up to 5 planets in Gemini, and now we have Jupiter here. Jupiter expands. So Jupiter's expanding the mind and ideas and talking, connection, communication, distraction, blah, 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 blah. And you have Gemini energy to some extent in your chart. If it's your sun, it's your life purpose. It's what you're meant to become. But if it's your rising, you have quite a bit of it. And so this now energy is saying, get out of your head, get out of the past, get out of the future, and really just focus on what you can do right now. Honor when you're tired, honor when there's life events and things going on. And often when we're tired, we don't honor it. But what's really going on is that we're about to get sick, but we're not having any symptoms of getting sick except being tired. Tired is a symptom of like almost gonna get sick. So like go ahead and get the extra rest so you don't get sick. Or you're healing things on the energetic and visible levels. Get the rest you need so that your body and your consciousness and psyche can do that work. We're changing and growing and shifting and awakening. So much is happening. We're doing big things. So really honor what you need moment to moment. Lots of really good self-care, whatever that is for you personally. And really be more in the present moment and get out of the future and the past. You are living poetry. Let me just check something here on my setting. All right, settings are good. So you are living poetry is your second card. It's really saying like the sacred resonance of life, of like everything you do coming from your soul and the rhythm to the way you're showing up in the world, your message, your the way you speak, who you are, your appearance, all of it is this beautiful like living poetry of your soul being this expression of the divine and bringing that forward. And how are you showing up like that? And then the good kind saying like tapping into the heart, coming from the heart, letting go of, maybe there's angers and resentments and different things that is really needed to be moving through grief or regret or guilt, that to be processed. And all of my clients learn that emotional know-how, even though they're coming to accomplish their big goals and make money in their business and so forth. So you can, work with me in a discovery call for my 6-month coaching program, or, learn it somehow, but really learning emotional know-how of coming from your heart, healing and releasing what's needing to be released that's standing in the way of that. It's okay that you have resentments or revenge or hatred or any of those things. We just don't want to stay in it and sit in it and let it take us away from coming from our true heart self. All right, Gemini, sending you lots of love. Please throw down a like on this video. Really appreciate you being here, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Cancer. First house, new moon for you. All about your character, your identity, your who you are-ness, becoming, discovery, self-discovery, personality, ego, all of that who you are. You know, again, this moon is really a validation moon, a an affirmation moon of like continuing on the journey that you've been on this year, of where you've really set goals and intentions and important ideas into place and following through, creating those great habits. But this is going to bring up things in this area of life for you, square to the South Node in your fourth house correlated to Cancer, and the South Node's been going through here since last summer. And so it's been cleaning this house up, all the subconscious material coming up, all of um all of the things about home and family and your sense of security and where you used to get that sense of security and where your soul really wants you to get it from your own inner sense of emotional security. So all of these trines to Saturn that are going to take place in your 10th house of career, taking up space in the world, your soul mission, your purpose, your authority in the greater whole, and authorship of your life here. Chiron being in this house for you for a long time now, by the way, in case that's not clear. North Node here as well, you know, North Node, fate, destiny. And so these trines are really this evolution of this long-term maturation process. Saturn, wait, sorry, Saturn is not here. I apologize. I'm like saying the planets that are here and then not. But anyways, so Saturn is in your ninth house. But anyways, the point is that Saturn is maturing this long-term maturation process journey that you've been on, and maturing the way you think, the way you deal with your thoughts, becoming empowered with them, thinking deliberately, getting out of all the old habit and default thinking, you know, working with an actual process, a technique to do that. All my clients learn that in my coaching program. And your relationships, Venus, you know, these trines to Venus, is maturation around your relationships to yourself and your relationships to others. So these squares to Chiron in the 10th house, so that can bring up trauma about your business and taking up space in the world and being seen and just your greater purpose and all of that. So just be aware of those things all coming up. Everything coming up is coming up to heal, to mend, to come to a completion, to be resolved in some way. And what else wants to come up for Cancer? Just like seeing what wants to channel through here. Just know that Mercury is going into your second house of money, valuing yourself at the highest levels, bringing your gifts and talents to the world, in opposition to this Pluto in your eighth house of sex, death, taxes. It's the house of transformation and of like the deep hidden parts of life, our subconscious. Also fears, where we have lots of fears and anxieties and doubts. And so Pluto going through here, Pluto is transforming your eighth house and asking you to evolve here, and also this opposition to Mercury. So much could be coming up from this to allow you to really step into a higher dimension. Now it's time to step into a different frequency. It's time to believe in yourself. It's time to know you can do it. And it's time to keep on your decisions that you've made, believing in yourself. Yes, you're going to have hiccups. You're going to have obstacles and blocks. That is the nature of it all. But don't think something went wrong and then try to make a whole new, completely different decision. You want to stay focused, stay present. Make sure you are tapping into the belly and the breath. That came through really clear for you, Cancer. So let's pull you some cards now. If you'd like to book an astrology reading, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. Pull you 3 cards, Cancer. And I'll show them to you here in a moment. All right, let's do this. All right, Cancer. So, what do you really want in a protection message is saying that there's really needing to focus on today, not letting other people's goals for your life usurp your own goals for your life. Really checking in on like, what do you want? What's right for your life? It's for you to decide, not for family, not for a partner, etc. Like, you really need to decide your life. A lot of people live their life and kind of wait to see what the partner wants, and doesn't ever actually self actualize yourself. Sometimes that means you guys have to rearrange your life, or you do go separate ways, or whatever it is. But it's like, do you want the life, that you've done many other lifetimes? But it's really wanting you to focus on today and focus on what you can do today. And this card and protection is saying you're missing the joy and the goodness of right now. And then you got one step ahead is all you need. And so really realizing like perseverance over time, incremental steps, every day, working on a habit. This whole, reading that I've been talking about is really for lately is like building great habits. They take time, they are hard, they don't just turn into an autopilot thing right away. We often resist them, we don't want to do them, even though that's what we want to do. So really understanding just a little bit better every single day. And you got changes in a protection message also, which is saying, that there's some unexpected difficulties maybe, but realizing that you are needing to let go of outdated ideas about your future, and really focusing in on this great habit that you can implement today, getting better at your life or your goals or the things you're doing a little bit every day, and finding the joy right now each day. So it's really kind of a very specific message for you, Cancer. Sending you lots of love. I hope this reading was amazing. Please throw down a like on this reading, and I'll talk to you next time. Leo, this new moon is 12th house new moon for you. 12th house moons can be challenging because it's going through that hidden area of our life, so hidden deep in our psyche, soul, our consciousness, hidden deep in past life. So it could be bringing past life hurts and issues up to the fore to be healed and dealt with. A lot of people don't know how to heal and deal with that. It's exactly the work I do with my clients. Um, and you know it's that emotional know-how. It's also the house of dreams and unconsciousness in the psychic energetic world. And so it's like this rebirth, this validation and affirmation of continuing your psychic development, continuing on listening to your intuition, of knowing that you're really working in this area really powerfully and working towards these important goals, understanding that Saturn is in your 8th house of sex, death, taxes, deep inner transformation, of, fears and losses and obstacles. And there's a maturation in your mind of how you handle that. There's a maturation of like how you are in relationships with these things. These squares to Chiron earlier in the week of the week before, it is in your 9th house of like travel abroad, adventure, of being the expert, of knowing material very deeply, of justice in the courts, and of philosophy or ideas about your greater ideas and beliefs about life. And so really understanding these squares are bringing up a lot of the wounds, the default thinking patterns that aren't helping you and aren't serving you. It's time to really have a way to be thinking deliberately, to move your mind, to believe in yourself, to stop beating yourself up, to really believe in your dreams and what you're capable of and what's possible for you, and to be focusing to fruition on what you really want to make happen. You have these squares to the south node in your 3rd house of mindset, how you're thinking about things, the old default patterns, the thing, of course, our mind is going to give us bullshit thoughts. It's what our minds do. Our minds, think negative thoughts. It's what they do. But developing a real skill set to that. And what do you do with those thoughts? Do you believe the things your mind's offering you? What are you creating in your life? And are you taking control of the driver's seat with this? This is really wanting you to reclaim your energetic empowerment, reclaim your empowerment over your field, your energy field, getting some energy medicine. I do that with my clients, really getting your field cleaned up, having that be a regular practice, really starting to understand your emotional seascape and your connection to something greater and something more meaningful. This could be a time that there's some meaninglessness that comes in, and it's all okay. Let's pull you some cards. If you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. So you got Feed Your Artist and Lead Your Metamorphosis and Creator Fire. Of course, Leo is a fire sign. The Feed Your Artist is really saying that you are connected to the universe. You're aligned with it all. You're in that flow. You're in that magic, and really making money off your purpose, being in your soul mission, like really doing your creative work and what you're here to bring, the medicine you're here to bring to the world, of like really going into that, and also feeding your own soul as well, so that you can nurture the gifts that you bring to the world. Lead your own metamorphosis, asking you to be aware that you're in that death and rebirth process. Nothing has gone wrong. When you get confused, or when you lose the plot, or when you have that breakdown before the breakthrough always happens. And so it's like really like, you know, understanding that transformation is afoot right now for you, big time. You got Creator Fire, and it's in a protection message saying that like you're have kind of bounced out of that enthusiastic passion, passion itself, you know, fire, you know, you are a fire sign, fixed fire sign, and um you know, it is all of that enthusiastic inner child, playfulness, fun, curious, and it's very mentally focused and creative and endlessly creative. Also, it's saying like you need to bring this back. It's as a protection message, it's, you need to dance, draw, play. You just need to bring it back somehow, connect into it, like plug in the socket, so then you can do the other bigger projects that you're working through. All right, sending you lots of love, Leo, and throw down a like on this video, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, Virgo's 11th house moon for you. This is the house of benefactors and your goals and objectives, friendships, groups, and organizations, and like clubs and like groups you belong to in that sort of way, like hobbies or get-togethers that you do, or you like go to a book club or something like that. So this area is getting this validation, this affirmation of what you've been doing is working, or you know it hasn't been, you know what needs to change, but you need to continue on the journey and implement, follow through, keep going, keep building the habit, and understanding there's squares to your second house of money and valuing yourself. And so this could be really up for you. This 2 weeks might be a little clunky. It might be a little not some of the easiest. We do have these squares, and that first week to Chiron in your 8th house, you know, it's the house of obstacles and blocks and fears and anxiety. And so these things could be churning up about bringing your gifts to the world, about your goals and your objectives. You could be tying yourself in knots and saying, come out of that, take, you know, consistent effort over time. Virgo can sometimes be in the day-to-day too much and not really can see the long term, actually. And so really understanding that consistent effort over time really builds the long-term goal into having it achieved it, accomplished it, completion, finalize the project, etc., and ready to launch. So understand these trines to Saturn. There's this maturing of yourself and your relationships, this maturing of your mind and the way you think, and there's some gifts there to retrieve in that area of relationships. I'm going to pull you some cards, Virgo. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. So let's pull you some cards. Okay, nothing wants to come up. What is going on? There we go. So your soul shines. This is wanting you to get back in touch with your light, with your inner kind of like mission, like the mission statement of your soul, sort of like what is it within you that is this purposefulness? Like a lot of people out in the spiritual zeitgeist talk about like your purpose, your purpose, your purpose. What I mean is like, what's this driving factor within you? And getting realign to that, and getting back in touch with that kind of like core root, and re-engaging your passion, your light, remembering that you are this lighthouse to so many people out there, and remembering that you have that beauty within you. You have that good within you. You have that light within you. You have a purpose here. You matter. There's something with this card coming up that like you need to be reminded of that external validation, like letting that go. Understanding that you really need to give yourself the validation, that we do have to have synergy with like putting things out and other people actually respond and like it. There is something about synergy. That's that Leo principle. And also, though, we still have to not be doing it for that reason. We need to do it for the service that we're bringing to the world, for the medicine that we're bringing to somebody that needs it. And so really turning that external validation of wanting to be seen or noticed or get your numbers up or whatever, to like realigning back into the greater purpose, the greater reason why, the original intent, and soul on fire, but in a protection message, saying that there's something about like, your lights kind of fizzled out and burned out. A lot of times that can happen when you're overdone in your schedule, when you're not giving yourself enough self-care. Self-care is really different for everyone, but it's definitely the basics: enough sleep, really healthy, great food, not overdoing it on the vices or the things that make you sick or make you not feel good or make you feel bad about yourself, all those kinds of things, or take up time in your life and you're not doing the things that you really love. It's also getting out there and doing things that create joy in your life. I love skating and dancing and different things. So those are parts of my life that I partake in regularly because it feeds me and it makes my life fun and amazing. And so it's like, what is that for you? Making sure you're doing those things. There's something about like you're not a soul on fire right now, and why not? And so your reading was all kind of like, you need to remind yourself of the light that you are in this world, and get that validation from the inside out, and to bring light that spark again, get that spark lit of that enthusiasm and that passion, whatever that takes. It may take a vacation. All right, Virgo, sending you lots of love. Throw down a like on this video, please, and I'll talk to you next time. Libra, new moon happening in your 10th house of career, soul mission, taking up space in the world, greater authority. And so really very much, speaking to this validation and affirmation of what you've been doing. Keep on track, keep going. You've made your decisions, you've implemented habits. Now keep going on them. Keep believing in yourself. It's time to step into a higher dimension. It's time to read the books, get the coaching, do the things that will help you achieve and accomplish the goals you want, and stick to the good daily incremental work over time that accomplishes the goal. Okay. Square to the South Node in your first house of your identity, and going through healing and releasing everything that's kind of standing in the way of being the you that really is underneath there and beautiful. And these trines the week before to Saturn in your 6th house of like schedules and routines and lifestyle and health. And it's this maturation of this area of your life and the way you're thinking about it and your relationships. There's these squares to Chiron that week before to your 8th house of sex, death, taxes, actually, sorry, to your relationship house. And so this is small quartz as well. So, this could be bringing up wounds and hurts or things you don't like about relationships, or finally speaking up for yourself and finally saying the things that you haven't been saying that you need to. Um, and this moon is really about this truth. Now, you don't necessarily owe anybody else the truth, but don't be in self-denial yourself. Give yourself the truth and be real with yourself at least. And also not chameleoning. That chameleoning may cause you to really have no identity in a way. I mean, the South Node is in your first house right now. So let's pull you some cards, Libra. And if you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. Let's pull you some cards. This wants to come up. Cozy up with risk. This is wanting you to get out there, do the thing that makes you scared. You've got to develop this discomfort inoculation, like inoculation to discomfort. You got to develop this, get over your resistance to discomfort and start to develop the ability to be uncomfortable, to be in discomfort. Because the more that you can be, the more you'll be accomplishing your goals. Because we feel so uncomfortable, working on big goals. You've got find your sacred flow, which is in protection, which is saying it wants you to get back aligned into what your intuition is calling you to do the habits and things that help you connect in and ground, whether it's meditation or baths or time in nature or painting, drawing, writing, self-care, emotions work, but do the things that help you get into that flow of you knowing what to do and then doing it, knowing what to do and then doing it. You got manifestation and doing, and it's in a protection message. It's wanting you to remember that it's not all just the divine, and it's not all just you working away. It's you giving the divine a place to land. And if you do your work, then the divine can come in and support you, and you can co-create this thing together. And I really like to never be in a supplication type of relationship with the divine, or never thinking of it as an entity or a body. It's like we're in a soup with the divine. We are divine. We're creating this, but then there is this other presence, right? But we're in this positive relationship with it, that we're creating this thing together, that we're supported. And so really having that sort of view will really move you forward. Sending you so much love. Throw down a like on this video, and I'll talk to you on the next one. All right, Scorpio. New moon in that ninth house. This is the house of becoming the expert of your philosophies and your beliefs. So there's something here about validating and affirming what you've set in motion here, and to keep, building those beliefs in yourself, keep believing in what you create, what you're doing in your business, what you're doing in the work in the world. Keep believing that you will figure it out, that you will get through this, that you will resolve this issue, and believe in your expertise and your authority and who you want to become and who you are now. So it's really an important moon for you, but it's less of a new vision and more of a validating what you know and are doing. The south node in your 12th is the past life work, and it's the energetic psychic realm and what's going on there. So the squares are this conflict, this needing to take action here, this needing to be aware of something that needs to shift. There's some sort of thing that needs to shift and grow here. These trines to Saturn the week before this new moon in your 5th house of creative self-actualization, and siblings. There's a maturation of you in relationships, a maturation in you in the way that you're thinking about all of this. These squares to Chiron in your 6th house of routines and schedules and health could be bringing up a lot of drama there. And remember your tools and your techniques, and be working through the emotions of things, and that will get you through. Make sure you're releasing emotions and honoring how you really feel and believing yourself at the highest levels. Let's pull you some cards, Scorpio. And if you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. Accept and receive. It's in a protection message, and it's wanting you to be able to receive the messages that the divine is giving you. The divine is bringing in information and messages, but can you hear it? Are you dismissing it? Are you ignoring it? Are you questioning it and letting the mind come in too soon? It's in this alignment message saying that it wants you to get realigned. Sitting down for just 5-10 minutes a day with the intention of meditating. Often, you might not meditate, but all the things start bubbling up, and it makes it really clear what's really going on in there. What are the emotions? What are the thoughts? What are the blocks and obstacles? What are the great things? Where are you not honoring what's really going well and is really great in your life and is really working well? So there's something about being able to receive the gifts and compliments and the blessings that want to come in. Pushing that away is kind of like this masochism. Pushing that away is kind of like this saying that you're not deserving and worthy. Is that really true? Is that what you want to, put forward into the world and ripple out into the world? You got overthinking and spoil the magic. Get out of your head. It's pretty obvious with this card. It's really wanting you to dance, sing, to be in that rhythmic flow of life, tapping into intuition, turning up the volume on your intuition, really kind of separating from your mind, like letting your mind be this cloud over here, and you're like seeing it, but you're here, and keep coming back to presence, keep coming back to presence, keep coming back to presence instead of off, um and seeing what this could bring up to allow things to be a little bit different. You got fearless expression. It's wanting you to get out there, put your content out, put yourself out there, step up into a new dimension, make sure you're taking in the books, the coaching, the habits, the techniques, the beliefs, that doing the things that support you in doing that. And really believing in yourself at the highest level. It's just time to believe in yourself, because the truth is when you're dead, you're not going to care about a damn thing that you're caring about right now. When you're on your deathbed, the last 10 years of your life, you might not even know all the people that are currently in your life at all. The last 10 years or 20 or 30 years of your life. I mean, you may not, but it's like, what are you going to care about then? You're not going to care about the dumb shit you're caring about. And so, sending you lots of love, Scorpio. You got this. Throw a like down on this video. I appreciate it. All right, Sag, new moon for you in this 9th house. This is your correlated house. And this is, all about being, this is not a 9th house for you. Sorry. What is going down? There we go. Redo. All right, Sag. This new moon is in your 8th house, and this is your the house of death, sex, and taxes. This is a house of obstacles and blocks and fears. This is a house of other people's resources. And so again, this is a validation moon, like an affirmation moon, that the things that you've been implementing and putting into space, into place, it's time to keep going on the things you need to do, the good habits that you're implementing, the good decisions you've made. It's time to just follow through on those decisions, and it's time to really believe in yourself at the next highest levels. Overcoming obstacles and blocks and fears and doubts can be really challenging, but it is so rewarding on the other side of it, of moving through that. And it's through emotions, having emotional know-how. And you have this South Node in your 11th house of objectives and goals. So, there's this square, there's this tension, there's this asking you to take action, to believe in yourself, to let go of self-doubt, to let go of the fears that you're currently dealing with, and to, you know, um, to make that phone call, take that step, write the email, do the thing that you keep churning and churning and churning about. It's time to implement. Saturn in your 4th house, there's a maturation of your mind and your way you're handling relationships here. These squares to Chiron the week before, there's in your 5th house of creative self-actualization, there's this there's these sore spots and these wounds and these things that will be coming up for us in these 2 weeks, and they're coming up to be resolved, to be settled, to be dealt with and looked at, so that you can get the gifts and blessings on the other side of doing that work. So if you'd like to, I'm going to pull you some cards, Sag. If you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. Let's pull you some cards. This one wanted to come up immediately. You got creator air. It's in a protection message. So the air, it's a consciousness, it's alive. But how are we dealing with our mind? Are you just letting the default habit thoughts run your life and puppet you around? Are you thinking deliberately and really believing thoughts on purpose that create the life that you want to create? Are you literally thinking thoughts on purpose and implementing them and making them your new default set points of thinking to create the life you want, and believe what you want to believe about yourself? Believe what you want to believe about what's possible for you, what you are capable of. Let's pull you another card. Yeah, feed your artists. This is really amazing things of being really aligned with the flow of the universe, with the flow of your divine creative life force, really being connected and making sure that you're making money off of your beautiful gifts, bringing your gifts to this world, helping in service to the greater whole. It's also about feeding your own, like getting back to the elemental, making sure, good sleep, nutritious food, not overdoing it on the vices, getting enough play and enthusiasm and fun and amazing things happening in your life. Making sure you have time and connection and pleasure. These are all very important things. It's wanting you to connect back and put your feet on the ground, stare up at the sky, just get the sunshine on your body, connect to animals. Sending you lots of love. You got this, Sag. So like down this video and I'll talk to you next time. All right, Capricorn, this is going down for you in your seventh house of relationships. So again, this is a validation moon, an affirmation moon. So the things that you've been implementing and putting into place, it's time to keep going. It's time to believe in yourself at the highest levels, to deal with the emotional undercurrents and all the emotional things churning up. It's information, it's navigation, it's guidance. Don't ignore that. There's squares to the south node in the 10th house of career, life purpose, taking up space in this world. There is wanting you to take action on something. There's some project that it's time to go on, making sure that you're doing the habitual daily work that's going to make that thing a fruition at some point in the near future, and being easy on yourself. Stop beating yourself up and instead nourish yourself so that you can take the action, and stop putting time constraints around everything. So it's not going to help. You got to do it in your own unique way. Saturn is helping you mature some of the ways that you're thinking, some of the ways that your mindset is held. There's those trines that week before, there's those squares to Chiron the week before, and your fourth house of emotional, your emotional seascape, your roots. So there's a lot churning up this week, a lot of pockets of, wounds and ouches and kind of like emotional hurts and different things, but it's all coming up so that you can step into your highest empowerment, so you can start believing yourself at the next higher level. It's time to really honor your goals as like living things that want to be birthed into the world, and really believe in them. Really believe in them. It's time to let go of, not let go of some of these people that like there's resentments or they bothered you. It's time to honor what that is, and go through the process of writing that out, releasing it, whatever you need to do to let go of that. I'm going to pull you some cards, Capricorn. And if you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. Get back to the elemental. So it's time to get good sleep, nourishing food, put your feet on the ground, stare up at the sky, connect to nature, get pleasure, get connection with other humans, get stillness and time to just journal, be creative for creativity's sake, not always just for work. Taking care of your body in the ways it needs. What are the things you're not doing for yourself that you need to? You, the muse. So this is wanting you to to understand that the inspiration must come from within out. Like if you want to inspire people, you got to be inspired yourself. But this is meaning you, like being in protection like this, it's like you got to get input in, you got to get new data, new books, new people's voices, listen to people you love, put good music in, dance, sing. It's like it's really wanting you to shake it up and bring in information that is going to help pop you out of these lower frequencies and dimensions and get you back into a higher level place of believing in yourself and knowing you can do it, and being in that the spark of business, like let the passion around your business come back and flood back in. Let the enthusiasm about it flood back in. Get out of all this destination focus and have to energy, and really get back to that fun kind of the original intent, the original spark. Okay, sending you lots of love, Capricorn. Throw down a like on this video and I'll talk to you next time. All right, Aquarius, this new moon is happening for you in your sixth house of daily routines, habits, health. So this is a validation moon. This is a, for some it could be a reset, but this is, wanting you to know that to deal with the emotions and the like sensitive places within you where you need to learn how to feel and release emotions and really get their important navigation for yourself and their important messages. You've got these squares to the south node in your ninth house um, saying to make sure that you're stepping into that truth of you being an expert in the world, going deeper into like, what's your personal philosophy? What are your beliefs? Are they holding you back or are they serving you? Really important to look at. This is, you know, Mercury moved into your seventh house opposite this Pluto in your first house. And so, when an outer planet like this moves into a new house, it's a really big deal. It's big shifts in your identity, who you see yourself as, your appearance, the way you look, maybe even like your name, what you call yourself, or how you think about yourself on the inside, like this, who you are-ness, your personality. So a lot of shifts taking place here and a lot of allowance for this. And understanding that opposition is about really serving some greater purpose, matching up your, talents with serving and thinking of who you're in service to. There's this maturation going on for you around money and what you value. There's this, I think kind of conflicts and tension in your mind and how you're thinking about things these 2 weeks before this new moon, but it will kind of release you. I'm going to pull you some cards, Aquarius, and if you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. Yeah, gratitude again. So this is wanting you to step into that place where you're appreciating, where getting out of the victimhood, getting out of the complaining, getting out of the like everything's wrong and just like step out of it, pop out of it, listen to a book, do something that can like pop you into another dimension where all of that just doesn't even matter anymore. It just becomes irrelevant. And it's wanting you to really activate that, stay in that place and get yourself back there. It's like something about really dropped in vibration, got stuck in kind of the complainies and the frustrations and kind of forgot to make sure you're feeding yourself being in that higher frequency. You got balance. And balance is in a protection message. It's understanding that balance is more about feeling solid than anything being equal. Nothing's going to be equal. And balance is usually a point we naturally find when we go through the extremes. And so to get to a balance point, we have to actually experience all the extremes, the full spectrum of it. And then we find just a middle road that comes very naturally. And so this is wanting you to make sure you're getting enough sleep or not overdoing it in some way. Like look at the emotions underneath that are driving behaviors that are not really serving you and helping you to feel like you're solid, like you've got things taken care of, like you're getting things done and on track, feeling off track here. Your past supports your future. There's something about all the stories of your past, and are you narrating them for your highest good, for a good story about your life and yourself? Also, with my clients, like we'll release something from 5 years ago and it might take us a half an hour in one session, but now that's not bothering them anymore. Like that thing might have come up every single time they thought about, this particular thing, and it comes up all the time and they're angry and resentful and it makes them mad and they feel injustice. We release it in a half an hour and now that is complete. It's just a fact of their life. They don't even think about it anymore. It doesn't bother them. There's not all this emotional stuff. And so, really we have to clean up the past where we never did back then because we didn't have the skills and we didn't know how to do that. And doing that will release us into our real future, our real ability and capability, and let us accomplish our goals at the highest levels. All right, throw down a like on this video and I'll talk to you next time, Aquarius. All right, Pisces, let's go. This new moon for you is in your 5th house of creative self-actualization, squaring that south node in the 8th house of other people's resources and overcoming fears and obstacles. So there's some action needing to be taken to overcome those fears and obstacles. It could just be that your mind's churning and you need to like just take each story and rewrite the story and reprogram it and pattern interrupt these thoughts that are not very kind to you. But this new moon is a validation moon. It is a affirmation moon to keep going on what you're creatively self-actualizing, believing in yourself, stand on that stage, bring your goals to fruition. Daily, consistent action over time is what makes that happen. And so know that, yes, habits and goals do take time to form and they can be challenging, but believe in yourself, know that you're doing it, affirm yourself, validate yourself, believe in all that you're creating and all of the good that you're bringing forward and all of the gifts that you're bringing to this world and all that you have within you to improve and to grow and let go of this ultimacy, this ultimate perfectionistic way of seeing things. There is no ultimate. Things will never be perfect. It just doesn't exist. And anything that looks like that, it's a veneer. It's not a truth. It's a veneer. And what's underneath it could possibly be rotting and mildew and moldy. So whenever it looks perfect, understand that's a snapshot in time or it's a veneer, okay? Because nothing is really ever truly perfect. Know that there's a maturation happening with these trines to Saturn in the 1st house of your identity and believing in yourself and who you are. There's just this maturing in your mind and in your relationships. There's these squares to Chiron this week before and your 2nd house of money and valuing yourself. And so much could be coming up on these topics for you to take action on. Squares, taking action. Don't let yourself sit in conflict. Take action instead and believe in yourself and know that things don't take much time. It just takes doing the action, but the actions like do have immediacy about it, but you don't need to have urgency. And it does add up and ripple out, and it goes pretty quick too. So let's pull you some cards, Pisces. If you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, you can do that at empoweredwomenrise.com. All right, let's do this. So you got limitations inspire innovation. So anywhere where you're feeling like limited, just know that it's going to inspire you to become resourceful at the deepest levels that you didn't even know you are capable of. And that is empowerment. That is like something within you that can't be taken away. Also, think about like, are you focusing on your limitations? Are you focusing on inspiration? Are you focusing on innovation? Like what word really stands out here, and to stop being focused on lack and on, what's a problem and focus on what you can do each day incrementally, get it done. Fierce serenity. So this is really wanting you to not let anything take your peace. That means you need to meditate, walk in the woods, stare at the sky, be with animals, get a great night's sleep, nourish yourself, change your schedule, even if you got to change it daily to give yourself that peace. But what is it that you need to make sure you can maintain that thing inside of you that allows you to do your big life? Feed your artists, like something is shifting, like being aligned with the universe, like listening to that creative flow of river, that rhythmic river of creativity inside of you and letting that come forward, being the vehicle to bring that forward. You got this, and make sure you like feed your artist as well what it needs: play and pleasure and connection and really good input. Like we got to put good things in. We got to listen to great things, read good things, get ourselves up in higher dimensions, stop watching the crime shows and the murder shows and getting down in the lower vibrations. Like much of this world is like that, and it can pull us down so easy. Like you want to get yourself up to higher dimensions, however that happens. Get away from shitty people. I'm serious. I had this question recently about, who's a good person, who's a bad person. Like, are they good or bad? It's not about whether somebody's good or bad. Like, first of all, there is bad people. There is people who are just evil and dark and malicious and malignant and, who are out to do shitty things to other people and don't care about people and are sociopaths and psychopaths and narcissists and everything else. Yes. And then there's people who just have a damaged ego and they're not, you know, they're just not really, they're really out for themselves for the most part. And they're really in all these maladaptive behaviors that make them not really doing great things for others, but they're not necessarily like bad in and of themselves, if that makes sense. And there's people with wounded egos. Again, they're just like all up in that wounded ego. And so it's always making them behave in these ways that just aren't, ways that are going to be a healthy, positive relationship for you when that's what you want. So, and, like when I say shitty people and stuff, maybe they're a good person and it was just a bad encounter with them on that day. They just lost somebody or whatever. But I still don't let people treat me shitty. There's this chick that like was driving down this park that I go walk at sometimes, and she was like in this state and she was just like raging, and she was driving through this area and she just like almost hit me, and I like had to get out of the way of her car. I'm like, dude, no, the onus is on you to fucking move, not me. And I was like, what the fuck? And she just like screamed all this shit at me and everything. And I don't think she was a shitty person or a bad person. Now, she was very shitty that day. I don't want to have anything to do with her. I'm not, but I think she was really having a really bad thing happen, and she's in some sort of crisis or meltdown, and I can, psychically pick up that. And I've been there, and like where you kind of lash out or you don't treat someone well or something, and it's just you need this like release, like it's something so bad. And so, you know, I don't just like say, she's a bad person, she's a shitty person, but like in that moment, I'm getting away from these shitty people, but you have to have the overview that, people are everywhere on their journey. People are just in individual moments where they can't act that great, or they're projecting all over the place, or vomiting. Like, we're all humans, but then there's just evil fucks out there too. So, that Pisces has the ability to really understand the bigger picture and all of the little elements within it. So, all right, y'all. Please throw on a like on this video. Pisces, I appreciate you and everyone, sending you so much love. And I'll talk to you on the next bi-monthly new moon and full moon forecast with Sun Sign Horoscope.